I am back, tribe. Yeah, lighting still not the best, but we are getting there. So please use the comment section to say Togoza Koko. I am from Joburg. I am from this place. I'm from that place because I am in Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa. And I know that our tribe is spread across the globe, and we are so honored and privileged to have, fellow Africans in other parts of the world as well, because we do need each other. So Cynthia is here. Yeah, the first to comment as I come back to YouTube. So please say hi. We've got Siho from Pretoria. Blessed Shabangu. You too, are you from Pretoria as well? So let me know where you're from. Togoza, Blue Goddess. Kay, you are here as well. Where are you from, Kay? Kokezo, you are here. Ntombazane is Zandile. Refile is here. Nelsiwa is here. No Wonder from Richards Bay. Noizwe from Cape Town, or from Eastern Cape. Kay from Bloemfontein. Um, Tonya from upstate New York. All right. Okay. The tribe is coming in. Esnalo from Pretoria. Tumelo is from Randburg. And Matiro Vilagazi is from Pretoria West. Oh, Mahlodi in Krugersdorp. Hi, neighbor. Oguhle, we've got Onika, we've got Limpo from Bramley, Lungile is from Devon, Winimang from Tawung, Chawuke is from Brongospruit. We almost moved to Brongospruit. We almost got a farm there. Sonke from Swatini, Lifika from Botswana, Busisiwe from, yeah, Velton. I struggle with Afrikaans name. Dineo from Midrand, Sibonge Ngose from Sao Paulo, Brazil. I would love to go back to Brazil. I was there in 2008. Yeah, that's when I went to Brazil. We've got Onika from Devon, the South Coast. Muleboheng from Mokopani. Zanele from Eastern Cape. Tribe, it's been freezing cold in Joburg. We had the cold front. I don't know which part of the world you are at and if you are cold. So if you could see, I'm wearing a sweater and I'm layered because we're coming in. So if you want me to touch on a topic, let's go light, or we can just do Q&A because I can see your questions there. Rather than me do it deep, because I need to ground myself. I need to be grounded and connected to go deeper into, deeper spiritual teachings. And I'm still figuring out the lighting issue. So I would love to do like proper deeper teachings where we know we set up well, the lighting is perfect. I'm actually thinking of even moving this table to, maybe we move this side, and I would love to put a wallpaper there that could be a beautiful background that we can do. So what do you think, tribe? What do we speak on? Because normally what we've been doing on Instagram is just doing a lot of Q&A. And the beautiful thing about Q&As is that it really gives us diverse knowledge on issues of African spirituality. Um, and there's a variety of topics that are covered all in once. So that is the beauty of Q&A, but then it doesn't really go deeper than that, and then one topic takes us deeper. But like I said, you can give your Q&A suggestion, or you can do a topic suggestion, and let's see what people say, and let's get into it. Lerato is suggesting we do Q&A tonight. I ask that we do something light. Remember to like the video. Remember to subscribe so that you can get notifications. Subscribe, put the notification bell on, like the video. It really helps with algorithms. People who are not here can can find this video quite easily. So okay, so I've got two people who are saying Q&A. So yeah. Nadedi from Maseru Lesotho. Okay, we're gonna do Q&A. So Kay is asking Togosa Koko, quick question: how can we tell the difference between good and bad energy when meditating. Okay, so basically, what we need to start working with is activating our inner knowing, what we call the inner voice, what we call the intuition. Some people call it your higher self, some people call it your wiser self, some people call it your Christ self. Because when that is activated, anything that we experience, it will be communicated to us. So when you are good energy, does not force itself upon you. Good energy, it will not impose. It will also not interfere with your free will. It will not interfere with your sovereignty. And bad energy is imposing, it's manipulative, it's intimidating, and it has a sense of agency. So when it's kind of like do it now or else, when there's too many ultimatums, and when it really makes you feel like you have no power and you are dependent on it in order for things to happen in your life, then that's really how you start to be, you could tell that this is good and this is bad. I hope I answered your question there. And then Sinalo is asking, Togoza Koko, is it good to use antidepressants while you are initiating? Well, for me, is that I am not pro medicating people, because, we know Western medicine has got its side effects. And depending on the kinds of antidepressants that you are taking, they might also temper with your connection. They might temper with certain things, and you might be incapacitated to perform certain functions while you are um, initiating. What I do recommend is that look into what are you deeply suppressing that is leading you towards experiencing what you're experiencing. At the same time, if your depression is clinical, then take something for it. So you might want to get a prescription from a homeopath, or a prescription from a doctor who is quite aware of what the journey of becoming a Sangoma requires of you, so that whatever that you're given is to really try and get you into a state of calm, but not get you into a state of numbness, and be incapacitated, that you really cannot function and perform the daily duties that are required for you to initiate. And one of the ways that also helps in our work is really connecting to nature, being in relationship. And that's why I really support people who go for their first time initiation to be in community, because connectedness really helps us with mental, it's very healthy for our mental well-being. Being in relationship, it's the essence of being human. Rhythm and dance and singing also is really a good way. But if you need to really take something, do take something, but also be careful, read what the side effects. So we'll ask what is it going to do for you. Some people will say take the ones at night so you can have a proper rest. So I'm not really totally against things, but I'm saying that let's just not always just want to medicate, because medicating ourselves also is just dealing with the symptoms rather than dealing with the root cause. I would say this is your opportunity. And it's common for you to feel depressed, because Epetro unravels a lot that we thought we buried, unravels a lot that we thought we have dealt with. So when it comes through, it's asking you to heal it. It's showing up because it needs attention. So see this as a gift, and also start to have some sort of journal and see what does what to you, what triggers you, because certain things that are happening in Petro, and is not even in Petro itself, it's actually triggering life experiences that we've had that we have not dealt with, and that they've really traumatized us, or they've really become deeply disturbing in our lives. So when we go through a Petro, there are smells, there are tastes, there are sounds that are reminding our inner child, our inner teens, of the experiences that they've had. It might not be in your conscious memory, but your body remembers the trauma. I hope that is helpful. Loiso, I see you here. Lungi, oh yeah. The core tribe is here. Remember, tribe, we are extending an invitation. We have 10 core tribe members. We are looking to expand it to 15, but I'll say some is here. Wow, the whole tribe is here. So thank you. Because thank you. I asked that the tribe be be notified. Please pardon the lighting. We are working it out, we're figuring it out, and we'll get it there. So that's why we're doing something like tonight, and we're doing Q&A. Remember to like, subscribe, put your notification button on. And the nice thing about here, we save it and you can go and watch where I haven't, you know, where you might have missed me as you join in. So you can always go back. So yeah, Yasmin, welcome from the US. Diran is asking, Goko, can you please touch on Isitunya stages, and when would you know that it's time to activate it, and how will I identify the person to help me with that? I really do not like touching on issues of initiation, because what I'm doing actually is I'm interfering with your organic process. I'm interfering with how things will organically unfold and reveal themselves to you, because not everything is a 1 2 3 step, and not everybody goes through the same awakening process or the time is now type of process. But one thing I definitely know, when it is time, it is time. Nobody can tell you otherwise. There's a deeper conviction, there's a deeper knowing that I must go, right? And because different schools do initiation differently, so me coming here and saying that is actually compromising you, because I am going to be telling you from my school of thought, and my school of thought might not be the school of thought that your junior journey requires. Secondly, this also misleads people that they can actually do things via social media or via Google and feel like they've initiated, because we could see there's a lot that's going on social media, a lot of distortions, a lot of false teachings in the name of African spirituality, and misleading people and really moving us further away from the divine that we are really trying to connect to. I hope that's helpful. Pride is asking Togo, I lost my twin um, son, and the other is alive. I'm married, and they said we can't do cleansing because the other is alive. I don't know what to do, and always dreaming of being pregnant with twins. Well, Palisa, I think it's Palisa. It's not Palisa. I hope it's Palisa. So what I know is that when another twin dies, there's a ritual that is done at the. It doesn't mean that it's still applicable to us or it's applicable to you. Everything that we do, we have to consent. We can't do things without consent. The principle of consent serves our sovereignty. So if I'm saying to you must, then that's for me a red flag when you're working with a healer who is wanting to tell you this is a must. A healer is there to guide you. So even if you go against and it becomes a mistake, it is yours to learn. It is really yours to learn, and it is not for me to rescue or save you. That's not what my work is as a healer. I'm not here to save or rescue people. I am here to awaken people to their power, to their divinity. I'm here to awaken your deeper knowing and being as a co-creator of your reality, but not to dictate and tell you because I know. Because you need to also understand, even as healers, we have our limitations, we have our distortions, we've got our own projections. So at times I might saying this, but my interpretation of your experience is based on my understanding or my level of consciousness, my belief system, my traumas are all combined in those things. So you can't want to always take my way as the way. I am giving guidance. You need to feel like the guidance resonate with you and it's something you want to act on. It's not supposed to be imposed. The minute it becomes imposed and dictated upon, it goes against the natural laws. And one of those laws is the law of consent. So really understand that when you're working with the healer, when they start to impose everything on you to say you need to do this and you must do that, no. But if you've actually consented to go through a process of initiation with that particular healer, there are certain things that are required of you to show up and to really be initiated. Because remember, as I always say, iphehlo ukuhlenga, ukuhlela, ukuphehla. So if you say I can't wake up at 3 a.m. because it feels uncomfortable, that really is not going to serve you anyway, because you are supposed to be doing certain rituals at 3 a.m. So I'm saying this not so that people can be rebellious and disobedient, because angeke ufike emsebenzini uthi it's against my free will for me to show up at work at this particular time, because there are still disciplines and rules of engagements that needs to be honored. I'm just saying, when you're going for a consultation, for example, and a healer says you must do this, if you don't do it, when there's always, you are made to feel like there's a sense of agency and that fear is instilled. Healing moves us to love, because love is power, love is God, love creates, fear distracts. All right. So Nontanta Mkonas is asking, Togoza Koko, if you have sexual intercourse with your partner, do you need to self-cleanse every time if you don't stay together? No. No, what makes you feel that? Because now we say sex is dirty. If it's a norm, I mean, I don't know, I don't know maybe tell me where, um you know tell me where that comes from. Where does that understanding come from? Because sometimes we follow teachings and they actually directed to people who are going through particular spiritual processes, that they do require cleansings or abstinence. But you can't be in a relationship with somebody and you cleanse every time, because it means what you've done is wrong. That act was not consensual. It was not a loving, intimate act of two loving people coming together and to experience each other in that form. So I don't know where that is coming from. So if you could kindly just maybe give me clarity where that is Tonya says, I'm buffering. Am I buffering? Try, please let me know. um okay. Okay, people can hear me now. Yasmin, how long have I been a healer? So I got initiated officially as a healer since 2000 in 2010. But I knew how to do consultations and readings since 2003. I started doing readings in 2003, but I then practiced African healing when I initiated and I qualified as a healer. Then that was in 2011. Yeah. Okay, so we're back on the network. Okay, I might have missed some questions because I was worried about the network. Okay, I can't do dreams here because dreams I need to ask a couple of questions. Um, Togoza Koko, what's the significance of being named after your ancestor, and is it important to have the name on my ID? That's amiable, I think. So I actually did I do so many radio shows. I did a SFM radio interview where they ask about the significance of names. There is a teaching here. Please follow it, where it explains why we need to be mindful when we name and the importance of naming. It is not necessarily that you must take on that name, and be clear on how the name was given and what is the purpose, because you don't just carry every name just because it was your ancestor's name or it was your grandmother's name, because a name is a call forward to your soul's identity. So you don't want it to carry a name that is going to distort you, and that's going to actually move you away from what you have come to serve as an incarnated being. And yes, you can have it on your ID, but certain names, depending on which tribe you belong to. I know in when I spoke to Mkulu about us naming our children after our firstborn Usbusiso, I thought it would be a beautiful idea to name him after Mkulu's dad, because Mkulu's dad died when he was young. And Mkulu said, no, fanele licelwe, there's isigo that we're supposed to do to really ask for the usage of that name. But I also understand, because we are evoking something in that name. We are also drawing on the soul energy of that ancestor into our child. And if that person, when they were human, there were certain behaviors and ways of being that were really not palatable. So I don't want that being taken, and being passed on to somebody else. That's why there is a process or ritual that's performed before you take on that name. Oh, I'm American born to a Zulu mother and a Black American father. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you for the question. Um, Tawaza Koko, what does it mean when you hear water sounds in your ears? I don't know. When you're telling me of a symptom and I don't know what else is going in your life, I can't say, because I'm moving away from just making people believe in certain things just by a symptom. because it could be something else. It could be many things. And me saying that it means you could, it really, for some people, they start to get ahead of themselves. Guys, remember to like the video. Let's like the video, subscribe, put on your notification button. Uh, Coco, what do you think about autism? I haven't really looked at autism from a spiritual perspective deeply, but I do also know that it's a um, neurological, it's an element, or it's a, I don't even know how to say it, but what do they call it? They call it a, pardon me, I don't mean to be disrespectful, if it's a disability or they call it as a disorder. I haven't really studied it from a spiritual perspective, but I also know that, there's something, that's off tune with your brain. And I learned about this when I watched The Doctors on Netflix. So I don't know a lot for me to say spiritually this is what it could mean. I would be misleading you if I say anything further. When I do, I'll come and teach about it. Can you explain a bit about or the psychedelic drug, and whether it is spiritual drug and has been used by Africans for years and it is good for use? So now, I know those there's another word I was looking for. They used a lot in like your South American retreats, journeys and stuff like that. We use certain, I don't want to say drugs, but certain herbs and medicines when we are actually activating and bringing forth spirit, and that somebody needs to go into a trance state. But we don't do it for everyone. And from what I have also learned, I have not done one, I've not done ayahuasca, I've been curious about it. But I also know that you don't just go and open a spiritual portal, because are the people who are leading us and facilitating those process really initiated? Do they carry? I would rather do ayahuasca in South America. Somewhat, I would feel better there, because I would feel the people carry the indigenous knowledge system, not only from learning about it in a classroom, but as a lived experience. Because you cannot, nothing can really compare with lived experiences. And that's why Petro is so powerful, because you are given a lived experience. You're not only learning about the medicine and this, you use the medicine and you expand your knowing and your knowledge, and you start to also have, not believe, but you start to see the evidence about how it works, and you know what and what not to do with it. So, is it psychedelic drugs? Yes. I would say that if you wanna go and explore, if your spirit it feels like it, just make sure that you know that the people who are doing that know what they're doing. Because I feel like the West as well just kind of sometimes piggybacks on indigenous knowledge and wants to come and say we do this. But there are people who can go through it and be initiated, but are they given the codes? Because you are opening a portal, and you might be opening a portal that is actually compromising to your well-being. So you might be actually opening a portal of what we call siphoning ancestors, so parasitical ancestors, the ones who are there to actually leash on you, not aid you, not guide you, not coming to facilitate things for you, but they're actually coming to take. And it's because you opened the portal and there was no boundaries that were created, there was no safety, there wasn't a safety created around that. So just be wary. Even when you're going to Izangoma, don't just go to people because they say they are. They might be opening. I mean, we see now, and there's a lot of Sangomas who trend on social media for saying they are Sangomas, but they also own their dark side and they own it very proudly. So when you go there, also expect that you will open your own portal of darkness, because dark ancestors, because not all ancestors are in the light, guys. When we die, uh, our body dies, but our soul moves up, and it moves to, and I learned this yesterday, it moves up to the fourth dimension. And when it moves to the fourth dimension, it's like the kind of like the astral stage, where it looks down and recalls and sees everything of, this is what and how I lived my life as Palisa, for example, the wrongs, the rights, and stuff like that. And because some people, and this is where ritual is important, would need ritual to help them transition so they can actually leave everything of their old lives and ascend and be one with divine source. So when you are opening ancestral portals, and that's what I'm saying, if you've really never passed that before and no one and people were against it, don't just assume religion moved them away from it. They could be that that portal was tampered with. Engaging with ancestors was tampered with. So we have actually have a distorted template when it comes to ancestors, and talking and calling upon them might create a mess than a blessing. So let's not just go like, no, you must partner, let's go back. No, let's also understand why we moved away. Why, besides religious trauma, what else has our people moved? Because we do know that there are dark energy forces out there. We see it. I mean, even on social media, it's very clear, and people are starting to actually normalize it and justify the darkness. There is no justification of doing dark practices, no matter what, because when you are propelled to using dark energy forces to get your way, it is your need to be in control. And being in control is a trauma response. So basically it's a reflection of how deeply wounded you are as a person, as a healer. Hence you always seek to be in control, because we use darkness to regain control, to feel powerful again. So when we use dark practice, what we are doing, we are actually eating away somebody else's life force so that we can have life within us. Am I making sense? Making sense? Please let me know if this is making sense. So much truth, Gogo. Uyazazi izindaba zakho zikamoya. Um, so what's Coco? Okay, I'm not gonna do dreams, Coco. I'm so happy to be here. I love you so much. Oh, thank you, Amanda, for the love. Really appreciate it. Nkulunzing is a rapist book of the based on the history of the kingdom of Yamangwan, explaining the lived experience with uh, Inzango, which does say beba ipemisa, pemisa Inzango. Yes, you know, for some people they use that, but it's I think I'm talking about mushrooms and all those strong ones. But just be careful when it comes to really using whether herbs or the drugs to get you into an out of body experience. Really be careful, because you can come back and really lose your sanity, because you might actually be entered into a space of seeing things that you're not meant to see, and that can really drive somebody to a verge of insanity. Choza Koko, my ancestors have want me to connect. My ancestors have want to connect with me, but before they can happen, they want me to fix my relationship with my father. And God, this man has broke me apart. I don't know. Okay, this is another distortion that I've seen, and I think probably somewhere in my teachings I might have said it, and it is a distortion, because remember, we are evolving, and as we evolve we become better people. The more you learn, the more you no ancestor is here to impose. No ancestor is here to force you to do what doesn't feel good and feel all right. They do not work with you consenting. The law of consent is very important. The minute the ancestors are imposing, they probably not of light, because they are not willing, they're not sitting, because not even God interferes with our free will. Because if God interfered, there would be no murderers, there would be no evil in the world. So for the fact that evil resides, it shows that God doesn't interfere. God creates, give you a choice between life and death, be wise and choose life, but doesn't impose. So I feel like maybe your ancestors want you to heal, because as a heal your father wound, because how do you draw on the paternal energy of ancestral force if there is this thing with your father? Healing your relationship with your father is not physically healing it and starting to relate better, because people don't change just because we want them to change. People change because they want to change. We change how we be in relationship with them as we heal. So, what I'm hearing from this message is that you need to heal before you can connect to spirit. As I said earlier on, unhealed us actually invite siphoning ancestors, invite dark ancestral spirits. Because when you start saying "Kunehlo zelibi," there is something in you, there's a trauma in you, there's a belief system that resides in you that says you are welcome to come, that grants permission. It might not be conscious. So you healing is to your own benefit, is not so you can appease your ancestors. It's so that when you are connecting to higher consciousness, you are actually connecting to creator energy, not destructor energy forces. Hope this is helpful. So you're healing because no one can ascend to higher dimension if they still feel they carry a big victim ego pathology. They can't. When you're a victim, when you carry an ego pathology of victimhood, you can't rise up in vibration. You're gonna lower your vibrational frequency. The lower your vibrational frequency, the lower vibrational energies, vampire energy, siphoning energies are gonna attach to you. So as you rise higher, they can't. You create a barrier for them to access you. That's why I mean a personal langbasa babatagat, because I mean the more I looked into it and I did my own work, I'm like, if you are practicing witchcraft, when you are imposing your way, when you are dictating and controlling, it means that you feel unworthy. There's something that feels faulty within you, and the only way it could feel complete is by taking that from somebody else. And that's what witchcraft is: taking and stealing and robbing what is not yours so you can feel better about yourself. Because if you really are that powerful, then you could be powerful to create for yourself, not to destroy. Even when somebody does something, or allegedly, according to you, they did something, therefore they must be punished, and that is punishment comes from a lot of distortions. What people put in, there's a law of cause and effect. What you put in, you'll get out, period. Okay, Muiponi, your sentence is long and there's a lot. Okay. I did not graduate in time till one woman told me that my grandmother is saying that Uncle Ilati with a year I graduated. How is this possible, Gog? I didn't get the flu story, Blue Sky, so I can't explain. Dimakat was saying we actually never realize the importance of healing and allowing ourselves to grow. Definitely. When we heal, we vibrate higher. And when we vibrate higher, we become the power that is already bestowed upon us. We return back to our divinity. And in that state, we become creators. We become God. That's why in ancient Kemetic spirituality, we believed in gods, because we didn't believe in this personified one entity. We believed in the God energy forces, the get God energy force that uh, is manifested in all living things, including us as humans. Chokoza Koko, you and I are both bipolar and spiritually gifted. At what point do we distinguish which is the disorder and which is part of the gift? Uh, you and I don't know, Lerumo, have I ever said I'm bipolar? No, I've never been clinically diagnosed as bipolar. Um, so we also need to understand that sometimes these labels are an attempt of science to really give us a label so they can feel like they're doing something at it, right? There is mental illness, and mental illness also comes from, some of it is, there's different types of mental illness. There's ones that come from of course, already a, disturbed chemical imbalance in your brain chemistry, and then there's one that is formed from your traumatic childhood experiences. I do believe that there are certain mental disorders that can be reversed with a multiple holistic approach to healing. So even initiating is, there are different aspects in initiation that really allows for the nervous system to be healed. But there's also limitation in it because Ubungoma has so much distortions, and this is what the work I'm doing to really ask that, is this really true Ubungoma, or is this a distortion? Is this what somebody believed and made it into a strong belief system that is now embedded? Like the whole thing of fearing your kobela, and that I'm a kobela myself, and there's been many a times where I felt in kobela I am in a place of authority. You are, but it doesn't mean then you are more powerful than everybody else and people have to listen to you all the time. Doesn't mean you will never make mistakes. It doesn't mean that it doesn't make you superhuman, basically. And that's one thing I know, that even as a Kobela, there's a lot of times where I dropped the ball and I was quick to make a decision, because remember, I too carry trauma, and how I respond to things, it's also based on what has happened to me. See what I mean? So the distortion around the Kobela is a point of authority, but authority does not mean dictatorship, does not mean you are the only voice. You matter more than everybody else. I hope that's making sense. Mibon is asking, how can I speak to my elders alive to fix Isimo Skababa after he has committed suicide? It is even possible to fix. It is possible, but I wouldn't know how, because I don't know what happened and why they moved away from those things. And normally, as a relationship coach, when you are trying to have a conversation with someone, never say that, I think we should, right? Say that from my observation, I feel we could, you know, I feel we could, and say why that is important. And also, when you get into like ask questions about, is it not important for us to do certain rituals for, because how Baba died was, unnatural. So, to help their soul actually ascend, it might be trapped somewhere because that was a sudden death, that was a tragic loss of life. So rather than saying to your elders, you must, and what you are doing is wrong. So be able to speak in a way that actually invites a conversation and invites input and perspective. And if it's too hard, get a facilitator, get somebody who's neutral to mediate the conversation. Because certain conversations in our family trigger traumas and experiences that we rather have been buried than actually being brought up. I didn't even know what time we started, because when I start to teach, I can just go on and on and on. The teacher in me, just like, it's just what my soul path is about, like really teacher. Togosa Koko, how do you deal with family that doesn't believe in African spirituality and you are now going on a path of reconnecting with African spirituality? I would definitely say that there is no formula, because remember why they don't believe in it. Each family is different and unique. I spoke earlier on that not everything is the same. But what you do is, how do I work with myself to come to acceptance that people have differences and different belief systems? But how do I work towards self acceptance? Because by self accepting the journey you are going to embark on, you will open yourself up to people who are wanting that for you. Because at times, and many a times, I've seen when people just surrender and they come to accepting, certain family members come around all the time. They come and they become supportive. It might not be everyone, it might not be everyone coming through, but that is important for you to note that, work with self, because the need and the desperation for family to sign up for you. Your calling was not a family call. Your calling is not, somebody said your calling is not a community project. You don't need consensus. You need to consent for yourself, and you need to come to self-acceptance, because at the end of the day, like attracts like. You will start attracting those who are willing to come and show up for you. Sihle Mlambo, how do I deal with sleep paralysis? I have been suffering with it since I was young. It doesn't feel bad, but I get frightened. Please, there is a whole teaching on this channel that teaches on sleep paralysis. Go watch it because I also explain the different kinds of sleep paralysis. Chogoza Koko, is it possible for Ikobongo not to help a person with dreams? Um, it's not even about Gobong or Gogo. When we're dreaming, we are recalling experiences we had in the astral world. So Gobongo is to activate that. But sometimes we don't dream because our mind is so overly active from trauma, from consumption of social media, consumption of a lot of things. The foods we eat are not giving nutrients to the brain. There's a lot of things. If you are not dreaming, then ask the person who facilitate the kobongo to check for you what's going on. All right. Because people say, I don't dream. You just don't remember. You do dream. Yes, do me, says your calling is not a conference call. Okay. Yeah, right. This question's amazing. I mean, we come here and we just dropping bombshells of questions, so enriching. It's so good to see you, Katla. I'm glad you're here as well. I was worried that you'd miss us. Please remember to like the video, also subscribe, put on your notification button. We're gonna be here once a week, and it will be mostly Thursday. I'm doing Wednesday because tomorrow it's a public holiday, and maybe tomorrow I'll come back. I don't know, because I also wanted to ask about how brave are we, you know, what is the lesson we can learn from the youth of 1976? So Togoza Koko, does a Kobela and their family become part of your family when your family doesn't support your spiritual calling? Uh your Kobela becomes your spiritual parent and their family becomes your spiritual family. But if your family is not there, why would they become? Because they've not signed up for it. Why would they then become part of that? So we can impose. So, for example, as a Kobela, I would have initiates who have their own, they've got their own houses, but fanela yonya telekaya tiwayolandihlos. And then the family's like, we don't do these things, we don't do. So we need to find a way in which we can still honor the essence of why you do that, but not impose that the family accommodate us. Remember, healers work, you always need to consent because your sovereignty is very important when you are a spiritual being. We cannot impose. So, yeah. Tosa Coco, I would like to know what causes the feet to feel numb and sometimes feels like you don't have control over them when working and the doctors don't see anything. Coco, I'm sure it's not the feet. Please go watch the video of signs that you are we called. It's not, it's not just there's many things, but let me tell you feet and what they symbolize. Feet is our ability to take the important steps, is to move forward. When we are resisting to really taking a new direction or a direction that we know we must take, then our feet will feel some type of way, right? Because there's something, Olisa, that you are supposed to, there is a direction, there's an action, there's a movement you're supposed to be making, but you're not making it. So what it happens is that it then leaves you stagnant or stuck, and the energy then is actually, then your energy, the stuck energy manifests itself as a disease, feet that are numb, feet that are unable to walk properly. I hope that's making sense. Gogo, can you do teachings on brain foods? Yes, I'll do that. That's a good topic. Food as medicine, I'll do that. Toza Gogo, my sister passed away early this year and she was buried at her husband's home, didn't pay Mahadi in full, and now the kids from the previous relationship needs to be cleansed. I don't understand what the question is. I don't know what the question is, Lerato. Toza Koko Siavusela, I'm very happy to see you back online. I've been wondering Ugupi Ketla. I've been stuck on Instagram, but just make sure you put your notification button on. From to this week, we're fully moving all the teachings to YouTube. Toza Koko, how does one know if you are on the right path in correcting the wrongs? What kind of signs can one look out for? that our ancestors are at peace or happy. Remember, we are not here to please our ancestors. We appease them as a way of watering the tree that we need to bear fruit. So when our life starts to revolve around making sure we are pleasing them, that's not a healthy relationship. One thing is that life is about growing up. Life is about growth. So even when things are going well, certain things will collapse because it's the cycle. It's things happen in rhythms and cycle. That's one of the laws, actually, that things can always be the same way, because then there's no growth. When things don't fall apart, certain things fall apart and collapse, because it's about, this should be newness that's supposed to emerge. It becomes painful for us because we are holding on so badly, and you are holding on to a very tight rope that it's gonna have your hands amputated. It is time to let go. So when you are on the right path is when things starts to happen with ease, not easier. There's a difference with ease. So when there's a sense of effortlessness into things, when it doesn't feel like everything is a struggle, everything is a drag, everything takes so much effort. When there's an ease into things, you know you are on the right path. When you wake up and there's a feeling of like enoughness, like contentment. You know you're on the right path, because I can't say to you, when you have your material needs being met, because there's people who can have everything met, but they will still be an unease, no sense of peace or contentment. And there's people who can have all sense of peace, but there could be other things. But sense of peace means that you are at ease with self, basically. So I was like, Coco, how does, the questions are lots, ne tribe? Hey, you've been hungry for YouTube. Towards Coco, I have had a habit of waking up around midnight at 3 a.m. every day, and sometimes I don't fall asleep. Worried if it's a sickness. There's a YouTube video on that time. If you look at the video of signs that you have a calling, and I'm not saying you have a calling label, there's where I explain the significance of 3 a.m. I'm giving you this videos to watch because it's a topic that goes deeper, that you might realize that I thought it was just 3 a.m., but there's also this, there's this. Oh my God, this is what it could mean, rather than just answering 3 a.m. in isolation. But when you listen to 3 a.m. and how it connects to other things, then you might actually find a clue to why you are waking up at that time. But 3 a.m. is sacred time. It's time for prayer, it's time for connecting. It's one of the most potent um times in for us as spiritual beings, because God's frequency and spirit frequencies is much higher at that time. How do you handle a situation of where the grandmother of the father's side warn you not to allow your mother's family to never ever do any ritual for you? I need more to that, because I have no idea what exactly that question means. Toza Gogo, is it possible to twasa while you're still in university? Yeah, it is. Um, yeah, anything is possible. I can't say it's impossible. It's about, will you be able to, though? Because there are people who trust and go to work. So university is, you can still go and come, go to your lectures and come to your initiation school. So it is possible, but for some people it's challenging and they have to make a choice. Toza Gogo, please can I contact you later for my autistic twin daughters? I need assistance, Gogo. Okay, and I don't promise like I know about autism, but there's a zero practice number. Somebody please write it, 074 210 2089. Please know that when you need my help, it is a paid service. This is a space where I offer my time and my teachings to impart knowledge and understanding. But when you start to need my personal interactions with you, then it becomes a consultation. Just be clear. Even when you send me a DM and you say, Coco, please help me with this. No, no, no. I don't. Those private ones, what you want in private is a service I offer. And that service becomes compensated. You have to compensate for it. Towards a Coco, an ancestor want to be in a polygamous marriage? No, no ancestor imposes. Go, oh yes, please go follow me on TikTok. I just posted a video um on polygamy now on TikTok. So, and there's a teaching here, I think it's a 2019, where I spoke about polygamy. Ancestors know, they might say, hey, this, because they might have an idea how it's going to help you, but they don't want you and they don't force you to be. No ancestor forces. And there's also a video where I said that the belief system that our ancestors dictate um onto us, how we should be and what we must do, comes from the God wound, that was inflicted by religion, that we must fear God, therefore we fear our ancestors. And you see it a lot in modern African spirituality, where we are being taught to fear the ancestors. They don't have a body, so they need us as much as we need them. So it is a codependent relationship. So I was like, okay, mom has been sick. I'm sorry, my dear. I don't know how to. You've been and it doesn't seem to help. Seek medical attention. Maybe the issue is medical, maybe it's psychological, maybe it's not really spiritual. Yeah. So I wouldn't know how to answer that, but I'm sorry to hear that about your mother. So I was like, Coco, what does it mean when you are playing in water, then you come out wearing blue and white beads with tiny shells? In real life or in dream? Yeah, Togoza Coco, what does it mean when you I think it's a dream. It's a dream, Coco. Yeah. Togoza Coco, how do we have a successful marriage that's recognized by the ancestors when the living elders are Christian and don't want to practice or teach us culturally level? Come and see me in Kulumkasha. We do sessions with couples who are experiencing such, and because we also need to to enter your ancestral field and see what's happening there, and we give appropriate guidance where your marriage can have the ancestors come together as well, even though your family don't want to perform certain rituals. So we guide you on what you do and how to do it. So, but I can't say you do one, two, three, because every person's field is different. Their ancestor field or the ancestor's world, if you want to name it, is not the same. So you are welcome to come see me in Kumkasha, because I offer relationship. I offer different kinds of coaching as Gogo Dineo, besides the Sangoma consultation work. Um, and actually, I want to move more into doing the coaching work as well. I'm looking in the next couple of years, I'll be phasing out myself from Gobela ship to more teacher, mentor, coach, because that's where my my vested interest is at this moment. So I was like, Ukoko, can one connect with Ukoko from paternal side while my father does not know his biological father? There's no relationship. You can connect spiritually to your paternal side, um, if without knowing them. You just say, remember, ancestors had a live, they lived. So tibokoko nabomkhulu nina abazali ubaba asinazi ngamagama, kodwa sibiza abakhanya, sibiza abamhlophe bogogo, and then so you can still connect. We sometimes feel like ancestors are impossible and we make them impossible, if that makes sense. Chogoza Koko, what does it mean when, oh no, guys, I'm doing dreams. See, but I'm not doing dreams. Kolisa, what is the meaning of transparent beads? Koli, my beloved, I have stopped teaching about amapai, ama beads, ama ini, because we put so much value into the material, that we are then moved into what the material promises us in terms of our gifts, than really being invested in understanding the gift. So I don't do public teachings on those type of things, because with you is like, what does it mean in relation to you and everything else around you, versus just clear beats means unetlos lamans, red beats means you have this. We standardize too much, and those standardizations have so much distortions into it, and they can actually move us away from spirit and closer to spirit. um So Peggy says, Charles Coco, when I was younger, I used to have wake up with black worms, bugs all over me, which caused me to scream in fear. It happened every night. And what did they say and what happened now? And why is it important for you to know now? I'm just wondering. Toza Coco, if one has pimples all over her face, neck, and chest, it's been 6 years of suffering from pimples. Does it mean one has clito? Could be, but not necessarily. Because it's also important to, has it been like that and never cleared? That's one, and look at what happened, because also pimples, our body responds to trauma in particular ways. It's not only like somebody is interfering with you, could be, but it could also be that when you go through certain reminders of your traumatic experience, your body acts out in that way as a way to protect you from that experience. Um, Well, the full moon, I'll teach about it because I'm studying about the moon cycles now. That does different things to different us. I mean, we then become in our fullness. But for me, I become emotional. I feel everything deeply when it's the full moon. And at sometimes I go on my period. So there's a lot that happens. For some people, full moon energy. So everything becomes intense because it's fuller. So the intensity of things, if you're feeling you are on a high, you become fully high because it's full moon. Coco, my sister, okay, passed away early this year, and he was buried at her husband's home. Didn't pay didn't pay my hiding full. There was a way to rectify because some elders say she was not supposed to be buried there. Well, I don't know, I can't I think, you know, uh sometimes elders want something else because traditionally seems right, but maybe your sister wanted it to be that way because she knew that that's how her body was going to be at rest, and at peace. So I wouldn't know, because you can also exhume a body because it's buried at the wrong side. So the best way to know, Lerato, is to find out by seeing a medium if she is okay where she's at, if that's gonna bring some closure for you and peace. Tito, what is Tito? I don't know, Lee. What is Tito? What did I say? I said TikTok. Maybe I didn't say it. I wasn't eloquent enough or articulate enough. TikTok. I said there's a video on TikTok, so I'm not sure. And please note that for those who are non vernacular speaking, my TikTok videos are a mixture of vernacular. There's some strictly in English. So I'm really trying to also bring different things into the mix or into the pot. Togosa Koko, what if your father is a narcissistic and my paternal side is very toxic? Long line of free Sonny, do you still call upon them? Well, you don't, when you call upon your ancestors, let's be clear, you are not calling bodies and beings. The body is no more. You are calling a consciousness of your ancestors, a consciousness that is also in you, that's not outside of you. But it's how do you connect and what you do so that you are not drawing on lower consciousness, but higher consciousness, right? So, because it's not all your paternal lineage that has been toxic from generation to generation, and maybe calling upon them is you are restoring them back to life. You are healing certain toxic traits because they have been inherited from one generation to the other. We know about generational trauma. So it's drawing on the divine masculine side of things. It's not about calling so that that father of yours, you are calling on the consciousness of light, the consciousness of truth, you know. Oh, Istrito. Okay, something about Agni. Istrito, there's a video here called Istrito Lee. It's a dark energy ritual that is performed towards someone to destroy basically their life, and most of the time is to destroy your aesthetics. And it in most cases is because somebody had a relationship with somebody who was in a relationship with somebody else, so that person needed to really discard you, and by making you look less attractive. There is a video here on YouTube. So it is, it's an act of dark magic, basically, Strit. Mm. Thank you. I love you too. Yes, I answered your question. So I was like, oh, sorry for many questions. But when a prophet says what? No, it's okay, Lee. You wouldn't know. You don't speak vernacular. Oh, I lost that question about the prophet. So I was like, Coco, does one align with the ancestors? Child from wedlock, parents, divorce, you are raised from the maternal side. Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't align. If you look at my one-on-one video of Ugupasha, and there's one about, I think, yeah, please go through my YouTube channel. There's a lot of content there about these specific topics, because just, answering it in like a minute will not do justice. But because when I teach on a topic, I go into explanations and I expand and I give so much context so that it makes sense at the end of the teaching. Okay. How do you cleanse overseas? I don't know what you need to cleanse. There's multiple types of cleansings. And before you facilitate a cleanse, you need to check uh, what kind of cleanse, and what kind of cleanse is determined by what happened. Before we can prescribe, it's what happened, and what happened not as you narrated, but also what happened and what is a discourse in spiritually, what is a disease. Yeah, this is not a yawn of just Josie yawning or energy, but it's also exhaustion. When a prophet is saying your dreams are bad and they're destroying everything in your life, what does it mean? What do you mean, Snow? Like a prophet that you are seeing? If it's one you are seeing, walk away. Walk away. Why do you even want to? Why, they're destroying? Why do you still want to even understand what's going on? Yes, just like walk away. I don't know why you holding on to that. Well, I have an idea, is many other things that happen to you that makes you feel like you need to stick it out. But that's not a healthy relationship with the healer that you have. So yeah. And remember, prophets also are human and they misinterpret things sometimes. So it doesn't mean what they say is cast in stone. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, walk away. Why would you need forgiveness? What is it you've done wrong? Lindelwa, certain things we don't just come here and say this is how. You need to know ukuthi ushweleza ngoba yiliphi icala wenzeni. For a consultation, Glucores, go to my website, gogodinawanhlanzi.com. Please remember it has to say .com, not .org, not .co.za. Let me type the consultation WhatsApp number here. I'm gonna write with the international code. There is my consultation. That's the WhatsApp number, or website is www.gogodineo.com, and you go on the section that says consultation, and then you'll get details there. Yeah, I guess, the distortion around the interpretation. One day I'll do a teaching on my understanding of the Bible and what it's meant to serve. Okay, beloved tribe members, remember to subscribe, put your notification button on. Remember to like if you haven't liked it. Thank you so much for coming in. We're starting to have more people as we come to an end. You could see we've been live for about an hour, 5 minutes. Thank you so much. We're gonna do this again next week on YouTube. It's gonna be Thursdays. 9 p.m. South African time. I will lend at different times, because our tribe is way beyond just South Africa. But South African time is is central. Yeah, is it GMT? Yes. So one love. Let's not make it long and long and long. And yeah, you are welcome to continue giving me topic suggestions. And yeah, we're back officially on YouTube, and maybe I'll continue with Q&As, right? Until I set up my lighting properly, and like a little studio grant, and then we'll do like more topics. But thank you so much, and we can clearly see that from the live Q&As, we have so much that we can learn. Like in 1 hour, we've covered like 20 topics, and unfortunately, not all the topics we can go into depth with them. Yeah, so yeah, thank you so much. Love and light. Remember to go, if you have social media, subscribe on all my social media channels. I'm Gogo Dineo and Danzi, and TikTok is I'm being active now, posting minute videos, like really sharing some truth. So that's also a good place for you to go for quick learning on something in a minute. You've got context, you've got understanding. So yeah, yeah. And yes, please like and subscribe and put the notification button on. Hey, Loyiso. Good. Thank you so much, tribe. It's great seeing you guys here. Night.